The Personal Agility Framework has 12 principles, with each one offering a guideline to help you become more effective at increasing your chances of success. The framework offers so many opportunities that you might be overwhelmed trying to do all of them at once. It's best to pick one or two at a time and work with them until you feel comfortable. Remember, the approach is to adopt over time small incremental changes that add up to significant transformation. You have your whole life ahead of you. You deserve to enjoy the journey. In this video, I will demonstrate how self-introspection enables you to become more effective and attune your behavior accordingly. Principle 11 takes improvement efforts to a holistic level. Regularly reflect how to become more effective, then attune your behavior accordingly. Where Principle 5 refers to improving upon a single delivery process, 11 broadens the scope to include long-term goals, overall strategy, and your life's purpose. It's easy to get overwhelmed, so an important aspect to practice of this principle is to focus on small incremental changes to increase your chances of success. You don't have to go wild with the first few attempts reflecting how to become more effective. Just pick a single aspect of your life to begin. Have you started with mental agility training? You could review those activities. Maybe you have made a list of improvements recommended in Principle 6. That would be an excellent beginning. Don't feel obligated to stick to the model. Any aspect of your life could be reviewed as long as it's sincere and you have a need or desire to improve it. Here's how to do it. Use the same approach for this principle that was defined in Principle 5, the plan, do, check, act cycle. Starting with the check phase, reflect upon your recent accomplishments. Ask yourself the questions, what have I learned? What can I predict? How could I do this better? The answers to these questions reveal actions you can take to become more effective. You might think of external resources you could tap into for additional support, or maybe an additional activity that deserves to be improved. You might find that major life changes are needed, like losing weight or getting in shape. If so, that's great. Take this long-term goal and break it down into short-term objectives. If needed, break the objectives down further until you reach individual tasks that can be acted upon. This process doesn't need to be complete to be effective. You just want a set of immediate activities that start moving you in the right direction. If your list of activities is really long, pick just a few of the next steps and save the rest for the next round of reflection. Remember, you're doing this regularly. Now that you've identified your actions, move into the next phase of PDCA, which is planning. Here you will determine intentions that need to be set, reaffirmed, or adjusted. You can always go back to the video titled Let Us Begin if you want to review the technique of setting intention. I'll put a link in the description. I would also like to introduce a new way to help you focus your planning efforts using something called the SMART method. SMART is an acronym representing 5 aspects for setting effective goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. Specific goals are well defined and understood so that individual tasks to accomplish the goal can be performed without further study or research. Measurable goals are those that can be tracked to determine when they've been accomplished. Achievable means you have the skills, resources, and other conditions in place to complete the tasks. Also remember that smaller increments of change increase achievability. Relevant goals support long-term desires and align with your life values. Timeliness has 2 aspects. You want to make sure to assign an appropriate time to begin and estimate a length of time to complete. The first should not be too far in the future, and the second should be reasonable but not too long. The SMART method can be used to help you in any PDCA cycle to refine and set your intentions. Like many efforts to increase personal agility, SMART does not have to be complicated or formal. Keep it short and simple to gain the most value from the method. When you have finished with your planning, use the intentions you've identified to attune your behavior. The term attune means bring your behavior and actions into harmony. The practice of becoming more effective reduces chaos and divisiveness in your life. Practice regularly, from once a week to every couple of months, with a preference for the shorter time scale. If you're having a problem getting started, you can always fall back on your practice of the mental agility techniques. If you decide on this option, you've already been successful. Strengthening your brain is a simple way to become more effective. Principle 11 is challenging because it requires introspection. It calls for a cold, hard look at reality, and sometimes, well, a lot of times, reality sucks. Resist the temptation to judge yourself harshly. Remember to have compassion for yourself. Forgive yourself as you would do so for others. You deserve it. Let's face it, life isn't always fair. It takes guts and it takes courage to be honest, but the payoff is well worth it. This is your opportunity to make the world just a little bit better and more equitable. This is your chance to fix it for yourself.